Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Baghdad. And we are live back. Sports Talk Live for the culture from the ranch. What's up, fellas?
Oh, man, it's all good.
This is Sunni Jennings with Jonathan Moore, Doug Scott, and Duke in the building.
Yo.
How's it going?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Had that
Glad to be back.
Glad to be back.
It feels like a lifetime, right?
Yeah, back on the scene, crispy and clean. We about to jump right into it. Let's not cut any corners. This NBA playoffs. It's been hot and heavy.
Yes, sir. It's what we expected, right?
What we expected. There's some things we didn't expect.
Yeah.
But it's been hot and heavy. It's been, real intense. Just like, got a feel. This first playoff, NBA playoff in the post-LeBron era. And it's, got some new blood in there. And they doing work. And they're putting in work.
Yes. Very pleased with the competitive nature of the NBA right now.
And it's going in. And you're getting real intense games. You're getting good performances. You're getting secondary and tertiary guys stepping up. And that's been the key to a lot of series. And let's jump in. Sixers and the Toronto Raptors. Toronto jumped out on early game one. And it's funny because after every game, everybody tries to, speculate and try to come and say, oh, this is the game. But it's only one game. It's a 7-game series, and each game kind of has its own story. After game one, the talk was Toronto sweep, all this, yada, yada, yada. But, the Sixers rebounded. They won in Toronto. Embiid was sick. He came in, gave him some clutch play. And they pulled out the second game in Toronto to tie the series 1-1. And then they came back to Philadelphia. And Philadelphia just really, with the adjustments they made in the second game, really put it on Toronto. I mean, they really put it on them to defend.
Put it on them. Philly.
And in that game three, Embiid just shows why he's an MVP candidate. I said he was an MVP candidate earlier. People looked at me like I was crazy. but the big man, like when we talk about all skill sets that he showed, being able to shoot, go to the board, rebound, defense, block shots. What do you guys think of Embiid's Game 3 performance?
I think he did a great job. I think it was what you're supposed to have when you're that
the man.
Yeah, when you're the man and you're that unstoppable force that you say you are, and you have to have games like that, especially on the heels of his Game 2 performance. Admittedly, they said he was under the weather, right? Yeah. And he kind of bounced back and showed that made you say, hey, maybe he was under the weather because he wasn't the night, and we see what happened. He wasn't that night, and we see what happened.
Yeah, he put in work.
Yeah, the thing with Embiid, like he didn't just sit and shoot threes. He got in the paint.
So he put in work.
He put in work. Yeah, he mixed it up on them. And they really don't have a stopper for Embiid. Like Embiid is like you said, he's one of them players. If he's at the top of his game, like it's gonna be hard to stop Philly.
Yeah, he's more matching.
Right. Yeah. He. I mean, how could you not love him? One, and he's one of those guys. Now he has earned the title of, if he says that he's hurt, then we really truly believe that he's probably hurt and he needs to rest because just look at him. Yeah, he played. Man, listen, he's worth the dollar. He's a ticket seller. He's going to give you a show. He put the D in dominant the other night. I mean, it was a 33, 10, 5 blocks. This is playoff time, and this is money time. And this is the beautiful thing about the playoffs is you get to find out, because it's not about making money now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You get to truly find out who's really into basketball.
Right, who wants it?
Yeah, who really wants it. Yeah. And I'm enjoying this guy. Just think about the stuff that he's been through, as far as
the injuries
just waiting.
Coming back.
Yeah, and we know as competitive guys, if you can't be on the floor, it chews you up. You just can't compete. So he had to go through what he went through, and then we see that it was it was well worth the wait for him, man.
Definitely.
I enjoy it.
And the other guy, Jimmy Buckets, Mr. Buckets, there's been a lot of talk back and forth. Is he worth a max contract, or what Jimmy should do? But I think a lot of you got to look in terms of what a player brings to your team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not like what his overall value, but what is his overall value to your squad?
Right.
And I think he brings, with that young team, with Simmons and with Embiid being young and a lot of young players, like Coach Brown said, he's an adult in the room.
Yeah.
And he's been making clutch baskets, taking the clutch shots. And he doesn't shy away from them. He wants the shots, make or miss. He's been a tremendous. We were on air when the Sixers traded for him. And he's been on air. I mean, he's been on his game in this playoff series, improving just the leadership and everything, stressing defense. We get the post-game comments. He said, look, we got to go out and defend. And that's the difference in the postseason,
Absolutely.
Defending. And I think that's the key because if you look at Leonard's doing work, we'll talk about him, but they're playing defense on everybody else, and everybody else just can't, correct their own shot or go off them.
Right.
And that's where they find themselves, Toronto, in a bad shot. They're not making shots. I mean, because it's a make or miss league. When they're not making shots, then they're really, really, really behind the 8 ball. Definitely. And I think Jimmy Butler has been well worth it. And I think it'll be for the Sixers' benefit if they re-sign him next year. What do you guys think?
Let me get into a couple shout outs. I got Dre, my homie Dre, down Marcus Hook.
Oh, what's up, Dre?
Toby Farms. Got Raymond Mars. What's going on? I got Jamar from Penwood. What's going on, Jamar?
What's up, Jamar?
What's up, man?
Hey, I think with Jimmy Butler, man, just listening to him in the interviews, the post-game interviews, and he was mic'd up the last game, just listening to him and the things he says. Like you said, last year, I think when things got tough, those guys didn't have anything to lean on. They were young. They never been there before.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to, dig down, find something else, find another gear, just they didn't know what to do to right the ship. Right. And with Jimmy Butler, what you hear him telling Embiid is, in the last game was like, hey man, shoot that 3.
Yeah, shoot it.
You wide open, you the trailer, shoot it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's telling these guys, hey, we got to play defense. We got to defend. You know what I mean? And when we defend, we got a chance against anybody. So when you got somebody constantly hammering home a message like that, and then you see it
Yeah.
As a team, you go out there and you see it. You know what I mean? It just brings another level of confidence that, you know what I mean? So Embiid is the lead, and he's the leader. He's the best player. He's that by default he's the leader.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Butler is like you said, he's the adult in the room. He's really the leader.
Right.
And
He's
it
the
looks
glue guy. He brings everything together.
it looks like right now he's leading by letting Embiid be the leader.
Yeah.
Where you saw the other day, he was saying like, "Hey, bring us home."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Keep shooting. He can't stop you. You know what I mean? So he's letting him know, hey, I know, regardless of what anybody says, I know that this is your team. You the guy that we need to be going for us to be going well. You know what I mean? Don't worry about the rest of us. You do your thing, we'll get ours.
Right.
And we gonna be good. We need you to carry us, and then we'll be great.
Right.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if it's the other way around, you know what I mean? We gonna have a problem because you're the mismatch every night. No matter who we play from here on out, you were the mismatch.
Nobody can match
every single night. So we need you to be that guy. And just hearing Jimmy Butler say those things to Embiid, and just to keep telling him to keep his confidence up, keep going, keep doing this, keep doing that. And that's big, man. That's big.
Well, it's so here's the thing, right? He's not the sexy model, right? But who cares? You know what I'm saying? When you start talking like KD and players like that, and Harden and LeBron, okay, he's not that. But like I said, who cares, right? What he has is some players hold you accountable, right? And that's what he's doing with this team now, right? And some players had this ability to look down at the end of the bench because other players know that you take pride in defense.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you can't teach defense. You got to want to play defense, right? And he's that guy. So guess what that does? It's infectious because it's going to spread.
Yeah.
Jimmy is playing hard-nosed D, right? You know this. You're a professional. You look down and you're like, okay, you know what? I got to play tough D now.
Right.
Because Jimmy is doing what he needs to do. So this is what we're seeing now. It's the spread of the confidence. It's the spread of defense. And this is what you find out in a playoff game. And it doesn't matter the team.
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
Right.
We're going to find out who can play, who's not worth the $20 million per.
Right.
We're going to find out all that.
Because this is the time.
And this is the time.
And even that's when they say, like, one thing I like to say, like when I used to coach and everything, is it takes no talent to hustle.
No.
Right.
Or to give an effort or to compete, right? So we look at Tobias Harris, he's not considered a great defender.
Yeah.
But he's a quick player, quick, rangy player, he wouldn't be in the NBA. So you have enough athletic ability that if you just compete, stay in front of your man, you know what I mean, keep him in front of
him
you.
and the ball.
Right. And you know, you give the same effort that everybody else is giving or even more, it's going to show. You don't have to be the elite defender to help the team, right? And especially when you have other elite defenders behind you, and you got an eraser behind you,
Right.
like Embiid. So you can be up in a guy, and they can go by you this time or that time, and he'll be there to clean it up.
And especially when you're not playing that type of player. When you're playing a secondary, tertiary player, you take it to the next level. That person's not a great offensive player.
Because he's not sticking quietly.
Right.
And the thing about Dre said Philly in 5. I think maybe 6. I think 5 is pushing it, Dre. But shout out to Jacobs. Jacobs just tuned in.
Hey, what's up, man?
But the thing with Jamie Foxx looking son, the thing with him is that what we were saying is he worked for Max Deal, what he brings to your team. What Philly got him is hard to actually find. You got a veteran that's still in his prime. Like you normally pick up a veteran outside of his prime that get a leadership. You got somebody giving the same leadership like you've been playing 15 years. You know what I mean? So that's going to help Philly like far as like going forward and far as right now and that accountability we was talking about. You know, whereas though, so he may not be worth that, no crazy max, but I think he's definitely worth some nice money.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see because you can't match everybody.
And 6, Jamal. That sound right, Jamal. Philly in 6.
I mean, when you look around the league and you start slotting him in where other guys are, okay, you're not going to slide him in where Steph Curry is. You're not going to slide him in where LeBron is. But, a notch or two.
Yeah, so he's on probably the back 10. He's on probably, inside that 15.
But what he means to you.
Right.
And
that's where I was going to go. I was going to go there.
Yeah.
If you got a guy like him, and you win the championship, how you going to tell me I'm not worth $25 million?
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. $25 million now is not 40, which is what LeBron is getting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even. I'm saying he is worth 25 million,
Right.
and Harrison Barnes is getting like 20 million.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But for anybody to say that they shouldn't re-sign him, is that you can see it.
Yeah.
And
You have
whatever
to. You
whatever
gotta
the
keep it.
problems was he had in Chicago and in Minnesota, this team is just as young.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The
How
talent
about-
is pretty much, you know,
Yeah.
you want to say same, you know, with some of
Right.
the talented guys. And the difference has to be the effort. You talking about a guy that made his bones as like he wasn't a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he came in, he was a bench player, role
Playing
guy
defense.
with Chicago and made himself into an all-star player underneath of Chicago and Tom Thibodeau and those guys playing hard in those defense. So that's what he knows. That's the way he was raised up in the NBA. So when he goes when he's in Chicago and they're not giving that effort, Thibodeau's not there, it's frustrating. You go to Minnesota, Thibodeau's there, he brought you there because you know the culture, and then these guys don't want to buy into it. It's frustrating. I want out of here. These guys, they're not going to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
How
now
about-
you get to a team where you preaching that same message,
Right.
and then you got guys that want to be great and they buying into it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, how about you know, the problems? First of all, how about it's not always the athlete that has the problem? You know, we got to get out of that. Sometimes, guess what? Sometimes it's the higher ups. You know, sometimes it's the coach. It's not always the athlete. All right, and how about that fit was just probably not for me.
True.
In Minnesota. How about the fit was just not for me in Chicago? How about Philly is the fit for me?
True.
And your problems don't have to be my problems.
Yeah,
right.
You know? They just don't. How about you come to me as a coach and you do nothing wrong? I can't even find anything wrong that you're doing. Because my system and my expectations is it's totally different from the other coach.
Right.
I heard Larry Bird say this a long time ago, and this is about Jalen Rose. Larry Bird said, I never met the kid before. Jalen Rose was playing in Indiana. Larry Bird said, I never met the kid before, but I've been hearing all these bad things about him. He's here with me. I don't have anything to say but positive things about him. He comes to the gym. He works hard. I don't get anything. So I'm looking at these other people like there's something wrong with them. So that, you know, let's put that out there. Right. Let's put that out there.
You judge people by how you
and
interact.
No,
with
they're
them.
just not for you.
Right. It all depends on how, you know, y'all worked out. You know what I mean?
Even in, like, I see your man said something, you know, that he was losing with those teams. But if you remember, with
lost.
Minnesota, that all started before the season even started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just basically know that. To me, that tells me that this guy Cat, who has just as much talent, you know, the different talent, but just as much talent as Embiid.
Right.
You got Wiggins, who was a number 1 overall pick. You got all of these guys, T, and these guys. That tells me that those guys, the commitment just wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah.
In his opinion. In his opinion.
And the
in his
thing about
eyes.
it is,
And I don't want to waste my years where I'm trying to get paid, you know what I'm saying, planning this, which is going to hinder me getting paid.
and the thing different was in Philly, we gave him the 2 game-winning shots. As soon as he got there, take these 2 threes.
Yeah.
You know, so that brings a different
yeah.
spirit to him. Whereas though he knew he was better than Wiggins, but Wiggins didn't know.
And
And Wiggins was challenging him every night. You
But
know,
that's
so
the thing, like Duke said, that the upper management might be pushing Wiggins. I mean, he don't care about what Jimmy
Right.
Butler's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially
and
when you
that's
got
what-
your money.
Right, and that's what was the problem. Whereas though Embiid and they just deferred.
Simmons, right.
And Ben, they just go ahead. You want it? Go ahead, take it.
and another thing,
You know,
Well, you know, Ben ain't going to defer anyway. Go ahead.
You know, Ben ain't. Ben, no, he won it. He won it.
I think another thing in the whole situation, the whole dynamic is here. The fans and the media will call guys like
Out.
Simmons and Embiid out.
Yep.
Right.
They'll ride on the side of
Oh, the
Butler
fans gonna get you.
if Butler is saying, "Hey, we need to play defense. We need to play hard."
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can look out on the floor and see that those guys aren't playing defense or playing hard.
Right.
Then they gonna ride with the guy because that's just the fighting spirit. That's just
Right,
the way
right,
it is around here. You know what I mean? So we want the guy
Right.
that's playing hard, that's talking defense, that we got to scrap. We didn't give enough. You want that guy, and if the other guys have a problem with that guy, then we looking at those guys sideways.
Absolutely,
What you
absolutely.
mean you got a problem with the guy that's saying
Right,
we
right,
need to
right.
play harder, we need to play defense? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? How you got a problem with him?
Absolutely,
And-
and that's what I was talking about that whole upper management thing, and because he said that right out in Minnesota where he was holding guys accountable. Listen, why aren't you playing hard? You got $100 million. Why aren't you playing hard? Like, I don't have a problem with that. I don't. That's when you let chew players out. As a coach, you can step aside.
Especially when you know that he can do more.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know he can do more.
But then you see after he leaves, they're like, where are they? They still have those guys that they're pushing their top players, young players, and you can't use the excuse of they're young because there are other young players. This kid in Utah, younger, you know what I'm saying? He's making all kind of plays, and he's the leader of the team.
Dallas,
you know what I'm saying? So Luka, you know, you see these guys. So that's what to me, based on what I see, being on the outside looking in, Jimmy Butler is basically saying that you guys should be better, or you guys should be working on your game or putting forth more effort, and you're not doing it. You know what I mean? And if you're not going to listen to coach and you're not going to listen to me, man, I'm not coming to training camp.
Yeah. What am I here for?
What am I here for?
Just want me to collect the check.
Yeah, definitely.
When I want to win.
Cool. Let's jump into Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has been playing well in these playoffs, been giving a lot of defensive effort. And I think what we noticed about Ben is he can affect the game just not by scoring.
Right.
If he develops scoring, then we're talking about a generational player.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the whole key. That's why everybody's pushing him to shoot more and do different things on the offensive end, because they see the defense, they see the rebound, and they see the ability to see the form in the pass. Once he becomes a scoring threat, that really opens up even more for Embiid. So I think the whole pace about Simmons, I mean, he's coming in, and with Butler on the team, it doesn't have to fall all on him at a young age. You know what I mean? Like he can defer to Butler, he can defer to Embiid, but he's a key cog in this, and his development, and that's what you talk about when you talk about all-star. You talk about a generational player. There's some guys who just can score. If they're not scoring, they're not helping you.
Right.
You know, like J.J. Redick, if he's not hitting shots, he's really not helping you.
Right.
But Ben Simmons is that player that can help you in so many different ways. Once he gets the scoring down, I think the sky is the limit for him. I just really do from what I've seen.
It's just about when, you know. That's all.
I think the point you just made about Jimmy Butler being there, taking offensive pressure off him, Tobias Harris being there, taking some pressure off him is a valid point, because you remember last year at this time we screaming, Ben, you got to shoot. Ben, Right now we're not worried about him shooting and scoring because we have scoring in other places besides Embiid. You know what I mean? Besides J.J. Redick, we have Butler who can take over a game and get it done. We have Harris who can get hot. Right. So, then Ben can just play his game. He don't have to try to force things. He can just attack when he sees it, make the passes, make the plays. Like you say, he can just be him and not try to play outside of what he is really capable or comfortable with doing. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that in the offseason he doesn't need to work on things to get better. But right now, with the way the team is constructed, I kind of like what he's doing. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with him, kind of being a fourth option.
Nah, not at all. Not when you got three.
Fifth option sometimes.
Not when you got 3 and 4.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. And the Sixers have a team, depending on where the matchup is, go to work.
Right.
When Lowry gets caught on Tobias, go to work. If he gets caught on you 4 trips down the court, go to work. Like and everybody on the team seems to be happy with it. Like they not like, oh well, Tobias just took the last 4 shots. Well, he posted up Lowry 4 times
because it's winning basketball.
I mean, and that's the thing. They don't have that. I mean, Embiid is coming into himself. Embiid is a superstar, but they don't have that. They don't have that superstar where though the ball has to go through me all night long. You know, all night long. So when somebody can take over the game at any moment, all 4 of them could do their thing. You know, at any moment we can feed J.J. Redick around 15 strings. If he come around, I'm giving you the ball. You know, so that's the good thing that with their team. You know, it's a team. It's really a team. It's not one man. You know, you see Embiid go for 30, then you see Ben Simmons go for 25 next game. You see Jimmy Butler go for 28 the next game.
Right.
Like it's spread it around. You know, it's not.
I think the one thing they do have is that when the team goes on a run, you have that guy in Joel Embiid. Now you can come. He can stop that run. He's either going to get a bucket, he's going to get to the line, he's going to do whatever. But that run is going to stop.
Oh
And I think that's key, man. When you the playoffs and you get against these good teams, and they, good teams gonna go on a run.
That's the difference between giving somebody 150 million and 60 million.
And you got a guy, that he commands the respect of the officials.
Absolutely.
At home, on the road, he's gonna get that call. And you'll be able to stop that run. That's big. I think that's very big.
Without a doubt.
Speaking of one person doing it all, Leonard is just been unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
In this series, even in losing effort. And what it reminds me of the early Cleveland teams with LeBron. Regular season, you'll do work. People don't play defensive touch. You're not fighting one team. They're not breaking you down in film every week to see your weaknesses. And you win a lot of regular season games.
Right.
Now you get into the postseason, second round. Now you got a team that's playing defense, that's taking away your tertiary and secondary guys, and it's falling all on him. And there doesn't seem anybody else that's been stepping up for Toronto to say, look, I got to get some work in. You know, it's an 8-point game. When he goes to the bench now, it's a 16-point game. You know, and that's the key. And Leonard has really proven his worth. You think he's staying in Toronto? I don't. And could he come to? Will he stay in the East, or you think he's going to go back west? And you don't want to count Toronto out. They won a lot of games. Whatever.
He's a baller, man.
Yeah, he's just a straight baller.
He's leaving Toronto. He
I think he's staying over here though. I don't see him.
I don't
coming
know.
back.
What are you doing?
I think the one thing I'm impressed about him is, part of me wanted to believe that that's the Spurs system. He just, this pick and roll pop of his, he's getting open shots, and I mean, I seen that he was a baller, right? He was a gun, but he didn't have to actually carry the team,
Right.
It's a
where,
different
like
than
right now,
Right.
he's carrying
System.
the team.
It's a system.
But the thing about it is, he was a college four.
Yes,
I mean,
he wasn't even this type of
But it's
scorer.
easy though.
He's
But it's easy in college to play, even in the NBA, to play 1 through 4 now.
Well, I mean,
like
he
4,
wasn't-
4, 6, 8 guy.
He wasn't putting the ball on the
the
floor.
floor.
He was just
four.
he was an offensive rebound athlete, run the floor cat, play defense, and then he just made himself year after year after year.
Well,
down there in San Antonio.
they say that about some of these players that are like 6, 8, 6, 9, and 8 playing guard, and they say, oh no, they play 1 through 5. Guess what? You're not doing. You're not playing 1 through 5 in the '90s with David Robinson, Alonzo Mourning. You're not doing that.
No.
So that's just you ain't. I mean, the list goes on. Mark Eaton and all
A
that.
lot of small ball down there.
Exactly.
And the other part on the team I want to jump in with.
Kawhi actually, he's surprising me.
He's surprised me.
And I was a Kawhi, disliker.
Yeah.
I don't want to say hater, but I was a disliker. But
You needed to see more.
I think maybe them workouts, and LA with Kobe panning out. I'm starting to see it pan because now he's shooting, he's finding his spots. He's like you said, he's doing more than what that system offered him. Like he's not in that system no more. And he actually elevating his game more than what he was doing in this system.
So it was like, to me, he was doing all of these things, but it was like, in that system, he's getting these. Whereas now you see where he might get the ball up top and just make his own shot.
It's like he's
still
it's
getting
almost
the
like the
same
system
results.
now.
Fade away, back off one leg.
It's like how we thought the system was enhancing. It was almost like the system was holding him back almost now.
So
you know what I mean? It's like the total opposite.
You win in that system,
Right.
and you put up some great numbers. You may not win in Toronto as the man. He may want to get back to a system. So I mean, definitely we got the help.
Him and KD going to New York, man.
I definitely think he needs to be in a market where we can see him night in and night out.
They're going to New York.
Yeah, he needs to be.
Well, listen, it's only about 4 of them, so we know where he's going basically.
Larry.
That boy.
Just when we start counting dollars,
Lowry, $33 million of nothing.
33 million what? Of when, a year over a period of time? 30,
So see, that's why you can't blame Jimmy Butler for wanting to get paid. If he's getting $33 million and I'm
To produce nothing.
I guess that's another show. That's another show.
But here's the thing. It's a
produce
classic
nothing.
example of when you find out, and not to take anything from Lowry, he's been a
He's a
tremendous
good
player.
player.
He's a good player. He's all he's on the team, but he doesn't appear to be that dude.
Yeah,
And you-
well, we
and
do
you
we know
need-
that though?
And you need that with you in these postseasons. At one point in time, it's not about what the coach sets up or whatever. It's just about give me the ball, let me go to work. Because we need Leonard's tired. I got to come down here in a couple of possessions, either score, get to the foul line, or create something off of penetration for somebody else. And he hasn't done that on a consistent basis. I think what the Sixers have taken in this series is the very first game, Siakam went crazy for 30.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think he's going to do that again. And they haven't shot the ball like that again.
Yeah.
And then you look at Lowry. You look at Lowry and say, look, you gotta step up and give us something. You gotta be able to score consistently and be a 1-2 punch. And he hasn't been able to do that. And I think that's what was hurt Toronto.
Yeah.
Well, could he ever do that?
He could for a little bit. I'm a Kyle Lowry fan.
When do we see him doing that?
He always kind of faded in the playoffs.
Yeah, he always faded in the playoffs.
Because the attention's on you in the playoffs. It's not like this week we play somebody else. Next week we're playing another team. You're playing a team. They done play 3 road games in a row. Now every night is on you in the playoffs. It's the ability you have to hide your ability. You have
Playoffs.
You got to be able to take step up.
I'm
focused on you now.
I'm gonna need whoever come up with these pictures for us. I need Kyle Lowry with his head down, not like he just made the game-winning shot. I'm gonna need with his head down, with his t-shirt over his head for this one. I don't know who made it. I don't know who came up with this one, but he looks like he's a gun right here. I don't.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he just made that. He just made that 3.
You know what I mean? To win the game. Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. I was like, where is this guy?
Where's this one right here?
Okay.
Where's the gap? Huh?
Yeah, it's like you see this is regular season.
This is regular season line. This is the gap.
This is not the second round of the playoffs line. But it's just interesting. And you speak of players like stepping up, and I want to talk about this because this series, Bucks, Boston, and I want to jump into this because you kind of felt Boston would turn around and get them. They really weren't. Number 2, they kind of got themselves together with their players, and after game one, you thought, okay, Boston will take this over. People were talking sweeps, and this man right here, the Greek Freak,
Yes, sir.
just has been balling. If you're not watching this series, I'm talking about fearless. The one thing you want to take about your leader and your best player on your team is to be fearless. Okay, I shot a couple air balls. We lost game 1. That's not going to stop me from shooting again.
Yeah.
That's going to not stop me from going to the boards.
Yeah.
That's not going to stop me driving to the lane, going coast to coast.
I love it about
I don't
it.
care what wall you put up there. I'm shooting. I'm going through the wall, and I done hit these threes, and now I'm penetrating. I mean, the numbers, the 30 points, the rebounds, the assists, the defense at the rim, and he's not scared if you dunk on him. I'm not going to shot. I'm going to try to block you again. You got that one. He's one of the most fearless players I've seen, a young player I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
To be at this stage of the game, whatever.
Yeah, and it's just nice. He's like it's not a lot of guys, especially NBA players. There's so many games where it's like, well, their game is on.
Yeah.
He's one of them guys where I'm gonna watch.
Yeah.
They're
definitely.
on TV. I'm watching.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just can't deny what he do, and it's hard to not root for this guy.
Yeah.
To succeed. And I mean, they look like they found something at the end of game 1.
Yeah.
Even though they got blown out, it looked like they found something. And that's something that looked like they found to me was whoever Kyrie's guarding, the same way you said about Lowry, and that's just what it looks like to me. They going at him.
Go to work.
They going at him.
Yo, easy money.
I just don't understand how they can't stop this guy, man.
Who?
This Greek guy.
What you mean? What you mean you can't understand?
It's a different league now because back in the day you had Jordan rules. Now this was the '90s Pistons. All those drives to the hoop with Lambeer and bump and thump.
Yeah, he be on the ground.
They take a toll to you. They take a toll on you.
I'm gonna give some stuff from my homie. He just tuned in. My homie Nate Buff. He just tuned in.
Hey, what's up, Nate?
He said the matchups laid right for Philly to make it to the championship. He says he feels as though they could beat. A lot of us wanted Philly actually be the 4th seed to play the Greek Freak.
No, I ain't.
But he said that's not what he said that's not what we wanted. He said we'd rather play the Raptors. He said, but he feel as though that Boston has Philly number. But he feel as though Greek Freak can beat Boston.
Nah.
This is what he feels.
He can feel.
Well, they're up 2-1.
That's okay.
So he feels though they can beat. Well, they have the better chance of beating Boston than Philly does. Is what he feels.
Well, guess what?
And so
I'm gonna spoil everything. Boston's going to the finals.
But he feels as though Philly can beat the Greek Freak. Is what I'm saying.
I can see
it's
that.
easier for him to beat the Greek Freak than to
yeah.
beat Boston.
I can see that.
But,
so he's wishing for Milwaukee, basically.
Yeah, he wants the Buck. He wants to see the Buck.
I mean, they played the Bucks the last time we went to the finals in 2001. That they played Milwaukee. But I mean, you're watching this Milwaukee team. They're gaining confidence. They go into Boston, handle the Celtics in game 2.
Yeah,
they learning when Boston has learned already. So
and
let's put that out
another
there.
guy for them is Middleton. Chris Middleton has been really stepping up. You talk about players, not that other person that you want to step up. He's been hitting threes. He's been rebounding. He's been doing. You can't do it yourself.
No.
Michael Jordan was 1-9 before Scottie Pippen came there in the playoffs. So you need great players with you, and you don't necessarily need great play. You need somebody playing great or very well. I'm not a great player, but on nights, I can give you that.
You got to be consistent.
Doing this playoff run.
Yeah. That's what you need.
And they get the kid. They should be getting that kid Brogdon back.
Yeah,
in a game or two as
and
well.
then Bledsoe's been inconsistent, but when Bledsoe's hot, Middleton's hot, it's tough with the Greek coming down there. Now these guys are hitting these threes. You know, they look tough, but like you say, it's a miss or make league, and it's a game to game thing. But they definitely, but it throws a lot of pressure on Kyrie because last year they went to the finals, so you make the conference finals. So you would assume, even though they're the lower seed, people were saying they're at full strength, they got themselves together. Psychologically, they don't feel like the lower seed.
No,
it feels like Boston is favored.
Nah.
Like
they're the number one seed.
They should get to the finals.
Right.
Everybody there.
Right.
And this is going to be a point for Kyrie. This is a big game 4.
Listen,
this is a big game 4 for him.
And
Kyrie got this.
And
man.
listen, he's taking like a big game for it because in the interview he said, "Look, this is why they traded for me. This is what he said out of his mouth.
Listen, man, he's the best player.
This is why they
Boston,
traded for him.
and Boston has players.
So now it's time for you to show what you're talking about.
Check this out. I'm gonna tell y'all to watch the game a little bit closer when he's playing with Boston, right? You got Boston's like 9 deep, right? Which they have a great coaching system. But it's times in the game, pay attention to the game, where whoever gets the ball, they'll actually be looking for Kyrie. You know why? Because it's Kyrie time. So they deferring to the greatest player on the team.
Which
So you gotta watch that, just like Golden State does for KD.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta watch
Right.
that when
And
you're
that-
like, all right, it's time for me to give it up.
Right, but that's what their problems was in the beginning. That's what the problems was. You
They're
had
trying to figure it out.
You had Tatum feeling as though, look, I got us here without you, Kyrie. You got injured. So Tatum felt like he was the number one in the beginning.
Okay.
Then Gordon Hayward, like, I ain't play. I'm the number one.
Right.
So you had all these, 2s and 3s feeling as though they were the number one. Now, at any given night, Hayward could be the number 2. Brown could be the number 2. They can all swap out. Tatum could be the number 2, but they all know now that Kyrie's the number 1.
They know he's
and
the best player.
once when they figured that out, everything started moving a little better for him. Like before, they was all challenging Kyrie for that number 1 spot. Like I'm the number 1, and so then you seen like they would take more shots later in the game. Now I take the shot when Kyrie give it to me later now.
I just think Boston is they tried to play that Ben Simmons, Horford on Greek Freak, stand in the paint
Not that player.
type defense, and Greek Freak isn't Ben Simmons. He's not going to stop shooting. Like Sunni said, he's going to continue to attack,
It's confidence, it's attacking, right?
But get in front of him.
I mean, that's
Take the charge. He's all downhill.
Listen,
that's
you
easier
gotta.
said than done, though.
But he got the spin move off the downhill. He got the spin with
And
the
the Euro
layup.
step.
He got the Euro step. He got the spin with the George Gervin finger roll. He didn't put in the finger.
How about you don't
finger
want to make
roll.
Sports Center
He's
later tonight?
Iceman.
He keep looking at attack. He's not looking. He gets assists, but he's not looking. He's looking at attack.
How about nobody wants to make Sports Center
He
later
made
tonight?
a
Get in front
layup.
of
He
him.
made
Think
a
about that
layup
one.
last night where he like finger rolled the ball, but his whole body was like behind the back.
Man,
He
he has a
still
7
finger
foot
rolled the ball.
A 7'3"
Like you
wingspan.
can't. It's hard to stop that,
Yeah,
man.
man.
It is hard.
He's
to
doing
stop
what
that.
we want Ben to do. Once he gets in the lane with that length and wingspan and athleticism, attack the rim in multiple ways. Dunk, finger roll, either hand, finesse, floater, kick it, pass off it.
Something.
I'm telling you, I'm watching this kid, and it's key after he fails, after he shoots an air ball. Okay, all right, that doesn't mean I'm not going to take these next shots.
Yeah, right, right.
It doesn't mean I'm going to disappear.
And
it's not going to be like, Bledsoe, you go get it. I'm going to go in the corner over here.
You saw a few times in that series where he came down and Horford was backed off in the paint and he shot the 3.
Yeah.
He missed, but the first game he made 3. But he's making a few. He's missing, but he's taking them. You know what I'm saying? Which, in that point, that creates offensive rebound opportunities and just different things like that. So
And get you scrambling, and then once
But-
you miss and get a scramble and a
Right.
rebound, now a spot
Shooters
up 3
get
guy
open,
open,
yeah.
up, bang.
And I think that's the difference. That's the difference with having Butler and those guys is that Ben doesn't have to be that guy this year.
Right,
Where
right,
we needed him
absolutely.
to be that guy last year,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to be
Right,
that guy
right.
this year. If you notice, Jimmy Butler at certain points
It's
in the
the point.
game is the point guard.
Yeah.
So
Great coaching adjustment.
yeah,
Tatum, he had 20 points last game, and it kind of can they play together? Can him and Tatum? And the thing about it, I say about Tatum, I thought even though Tatum had a great series last year, and he's really improving and he's doing well, I always thought Ben had more upside potential because if he can develop the scoring potential, he can affect the game in so many different ways. And what is Tatum in? I guess he's in the future if Kyrie leaves, but Tatum just really last game really kind of looked like himself in this postseason, scoring 20 points last night. How are they going to work him into the game? I mean, he was comfortable. He was hitting mid-range jump shots, and they lost. So does that mean they go away from him in game 4? Like, Kyrie, look, we need you to do one of those 40-point, 45-point things. We need you to be Damian Lillard.
Well,
Give us 50. It's going to be interesting.
Well, with Boston, period, right? It's not about, I don't think it's about them adjusting to anything. Just do what Boston does. Because we already talked about them being 9 or 10 deep, and they don't even have Smart.
Yeah.
So let's I mean,
Smart's another body that could be on a big man.
Right. So you talking about talented, like you got Kyrie, you got Horford, you got Tatum, Brown, you got Hayward, you got the backup point guard,
you got
Rozier.
You got
like these guys, you got
Mars
those bodies. Yeah, you got the Mars. Like they got bodies. So I don't think it's about them adjusting to anything. It's about them finding their niche and then applying, the pressure on these other teams because guess what? I don't care what team that it is that Boston's playing, that team has to play Boston too.
Yeah.
Because they got so much, right? They Brown and Tatum and Kyrie, they stay in attack mode. So just think about that. I don't care if you average 30 on the other end. You got to play the other end.
I think
where the pressure stays on.
I think
throughout
Boston,
the game.
Though, sometimes, like you say, all of that talent could be a hindrance, not necessarily to a coach, but to a player's confidence. So last year, with no Kyrie, with no Hayward, Tatum and Brown knew they had the keys to the car.
Right,
Yeah.
They could do what they wanted, but they pretty much, I'm shooting if I'm off, I'm standing, I'm not coming out. It's nobody to put in. Where this year, if you're shooting and you're not making shots or you're turning the ball over or you're not defending or whatever, it's somebody on the bench that can
They
come
got
in and do that job.
interchangeable parts.
So you figure that
shooting guard and small
that
forward.
pressure, and it might be only perceived pressure by the player, is real. You know what I'm saying? So Tatum may not be playing with the same confidence that he played with last year because he knows that he can come out of the game, and we have Hayward to put in the game for you. We have
Smart.
Brown and Hayward could go, and I can sit on the bench.
And that's true.
Or Kyrie and. Remember Rozier had a problem with his playing time in the beginning of the year. So that being deep is one thing, and I know one thing they said about the Sixers that Brett Brown has been playing with a strict 8-man rotation.
Yeah.
And I mean, that it's a reason why coaches shorten their bench in the playoffs.
Right.
And I think, like I said, these guys, man, who had their rookies last year, they never been through it. They just balling. Everybody telling, hey, just keep shooting, just keep doing what you're doing.
And now they're playing with expectations.
Now they're playing with expectations, and it's even more expectations because not only did you get that far last year, you got that far without your two quote unquote best players who are back. So and the best player in the world is no longer in your way. So you've been slotted in the finals from day one. And now you starting to hear that pressure. You starting to. I heard Celtics fans booing in the arena last night. So,
it'll be interesting to see how they come out.
Hey, listen, I think that one thing that came out of all this is that they know who the best player on their team is. Whether it took them a month to figure it out, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, I think that they know they need number 11 to do what he needs to do to bring that ring. That's what I think that they found out.
Absolutely. If they're going to win anything, they need that.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. The other series that seemed to be a little disappointment, Golden State and Houston. Golden State's up 2-0. Houston's been doing more crying about officiating than anything. Interesting. KD then got his groove back.
All the way back.
He's putting in work.
I think the Clippers woke that monster up.
He's the best player in the playoffs so far. Besides him and Embiid, you can go. Is he the best player in the world now? Is he the best scorer in the world? That's go up for debate. But what can Houston do? What is this James Harden guy going to do? Moving forward, because it's all on him. He's another player that. All right, James, you're out of OKC and you score these points and get all these fouls in the regular season. Is this the foul shooting part of his game so big, and now in the playoffs we're not calling all these fouls?
Yeah.
Like, like we're not. This is the postseason. You got to step. You got to make baskets.
I'm gonna say this one thing, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. I got a problem with players being on the ground all the time, and then y'all can have it.
I think Houston,
It might be the old school in me, but I'm just saying.
I think I think as bad as it seems like they played both of the games they were in.
Yeah,
they were in both.
We'll see what happens when they come home
with a chance to win. So to me, it has been the most disappointing series out of all of them that's going on right now. But like you said, they're back in Houston now. So
tonight,
and they can make it a series with a win here. But I just think, like you say, with all of the non-calls, how bad Harden shot, and all the turnovers and everything that Houston's done, both games they were in. Chris Paul had a wide open three, down 6 in the late in the fourth quarter the other day, and he missed it.
James Harden had a tie game 3, and he missed it in the first game.
So they've been in the game. It's just like you said. I think all of the crying and all of the flopping and all of the it's kind of taken away from what we all was waiting for.
Yeah,
expecting this to be a great
news.
series.
Yeah,
offensive explosion pretty much, and it's kind of hasn't really happened. It's nice to see Kevin Durant though. That I don't know about everybody else. I like watching greatness. I know everybody's a little upset he went to the Warriors, but I mean, just to watch this guy's game, man, it's just.
I mean, he's a great player. I mean, he's a tremendous player, 7 foot, can shoot and do everything like that. I like watching the great players play. I think he went to a team that has gave him the best chance to win. You want to win, but the team you were up 3-1 on. That's what everybody was like. Yo, they were up 3-1 on you. You was up, that's the flip part of it. But it is what it is. I mean, that's the NBA now. That's what players do now.
Yeah, Kevin Durant definitely is. We don't need a whole second. He's definitely the best player on the planet right now, and he took over that because
Remarkable,
the thing with I'm not saying he's better than Kobe or Jordan or anybody. Thing with Kobe and Jordan and even LeBron, you had shots that you would make them take and you would be okay.
Yeah.
There's no bad shot for Kevin Durant. I don't care if it's a fade away from the 3-point line. It's not a bad shot for Kevin Durant. When he jumps, nobody can even they used to put their hand over Kobe's eyes and Jordan's eyes when they would shoot. You can't put your hand over Kevin Durant's eyes, because in order for you to guard him, you got to be 6'7". In order for you to guard him, you got to be 6'7". You can't be 7'1" to guard him. So once you jump, you still at his chest when he's elevating.
Yeah.
So it's not you can't even make him take a bad shot.
I like the fact that that Golden State they were loaded. Curry, Clay, the list was loaded, but he comes and then all of a sudden he's the best player on the team. So what that tell you? What that tell you? A team is loaded, but I come now. I'm the best player. So all right. So everybody take the back seat,
and they welcome me as that. That was the good thing. You know what I mean?
That's why they win.
Well, they needed him to beat LeBron. Like I mean, like look, and to be true, the first series they beat LeBron, the whole Cleveland was hurt. Then they were up 3-1 and got dumb and lost that series. So
got some shout outs.
Oh, shout them out.
Shout them out.
Miss Rocky Brickhouse, how are you, cuz?
Brickhouse,
Kaya David, Mr. Darryl Nelson, Greg Barr, CMD's finest. How you doing, brother? Greg once scored 94 points in a game, but we can take up the whole show if we want to stay on you. Yeah.
Well, how many shots did he take? Wasn't off 94
guess what?
points on 94 shots.
Hey, not a lot. And Greg will probably agree with this. He wasn't a jump shooter. So what that tell you? Right? And you scoring 94.
Did they need it? Was it a close game?
It doesn't matter. I couldn't score 94 in high school.
Hey, it's a difference if they needed it though.
Sometimes you let them go. If you'd have let me go in high school, I think I could have did 70. Not 94.
Took the green light, gave the green light.
Yeah, he got
3-point shots.
3-point shots. Miss Shelly Blackstone, how are you?
Hi, Miss Shelly.
Shelly Blackstone says we need some women on the panel.
Okay.
So won't you come on?
Down.
Come on down.
So
come on down here.
We got 5 mics. We got open mics every
5
weekend.
mics.
So
right?
come on. We got open mics. We got 2 more mics if you want to come on down.
Miss King, how are you? Bethany King.
How you doing?
And cuz, what's happening? Mr. Robert Farmer, how you doing, brother? He's on his transition to Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
We'll get into that probably later on. We need
Tampa,
to get you down
man.
here. He's a Cowboy fan
All
too.
right,
Soon.
always love it. It's always love
He's
for the
always
boys.
welcome.
Always welcome, huh?
It'll be definitely. But let's jump into what there's things with great labels and great reputations, But this series right now, Portland and Denver, is that work.
All that
Portland's
work.
been putting in work. Damon Lillard's been putting in work. Last night, and I didn't see it. I ain't gonna get up here in front, whatever. I just caught the recap when I woke up this morning.
I gotta be the only
The 10:30
non-fan.
game.
Yeah, I gotta be the only non-fan that stayed up to watch this, man.
Well, what you do is you get on your jet and then you go to West Coast and then you can watch it.
I was tired, man. It was like 2:30 at Jones.
4 overtimes.
4 overtime.
4 OTs. And Portland goes up 2-1. McCallum carried him for a while. Lillard came back. Djokovic hit some shots.
Joker plays 65 minutes.
For Denver.
He got to be 20 something.
Yeah.
But he's a big man.
24.
20. There you go.
Yeah.
He's not doing it in his 30s.
He's not doing it at 35.
Nah.
The work in Portland, and everybody's the overall talk was the de facto Western Conference Finals is Golden State versus Houston. That's really the Western Conference Finals.
Right.
That's been like the attitude.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you,
Not so fast, my friend.
yeah. Portland.
Dame Dollar.
Portland is balling.
Dame
Portland
Dollar.
is just tough, grizzled team, and I don't know. I can't just automatically throw the winner of that Houston Golden State series into the NBA Finals. And it's just been tremendous. If you go back, look at the recap. I know a lot of people aren't up. If they can get us a game that I can stay up and wait, like on a Saturday night or a Sunday, I can watch it. But during the week, it's kind of tough. But Lillard has really just this year just really just come up and show
Dame Dollar.
And just seeing other players just step up. And, he's one of those players that step up. He's like,
Without saying much about it either, just doing it.
Yeah, he's not, a lot of rah-rah, not a lot of drama. He's just saying, he's just talking, here we go. I'm just going to put in the work and let the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And then you got the young kid from Denver. He's doing work.
Joker.
Is he?
Man, Joker.
Another big
They better
man.
they better be glad the Joker got tired last night. Joker was wide open. He was just deferring to him.
Listen, when the ball keeps going in, and you're a fan I'm a fan of yours.
Yeah.
I look up, I'm
Joker.
seeing this. Look, the slow wind 3, and every time I look up, it's going in the net. I'm like, oh, whoa, wait a second. Then you spinning and putting it up, and it's going in. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, this is a very good. So they gotta get this this series some prime time game. They gotta get at least 8 o'clock in the East Coast or 9 o'clock in the East Coast.
Something.
They gotta give us a couple games because this is really been very entertaining basketball, back and forth, tightly contested, and it's a lot. And a lot of stories. The guy Hood, who played on Cleveland for a little bit, was traded.
Yeah.
He gave Portland some key minutes last night. There's stories like guys getting opportunity during the game, and and that's when you step up. Like, it's my night.
Right.
They're gonna need a couple threes from me from the corner.
All I know is if you know the owner of Portland, then you know it's not about money. Paul Allen's over there, so if you know who he is,
Hood actually got in and was the difference maker in the fourth overtime. He didn't play none of the overtime minutes. They put him in the fourth overtime. He came in skipping, the only one that had good legs. and I believe he came down, made a fadeaway, made a little putback, and then he made a 3-pointer to seal it off. And the coach didn't take credit for it though. He said, "I wish I could take credit for it, but the other guy was tired. And he said, I just put Hood in. He said it wasn't like a strategy or anything I had going on.
I didn't have a feeling. Something just came over me. Go with the Hood. Like, definitely been a tremendous. But these NBA playoffs have been very entertaining in the post-Bron era, and definitely, even more because I'm a 10-9-8 76ers fan when your team is in the mix. But even overall, just the stories and seeing, it's always the next generation. And seeing these young players come up, seeing the big man in Milwaukee just doing what he's doing, and just everything overall, it's been tremendous. So I look forward. Big game 4 in Philly tomorrow. Big game.
Got 3 tonight in Houston.
But it's also bad though about this game. Like, you also was upset that it was a loser. Like, them playing so hard and putting so much on the line. It was almost like upset that it had to be a loser in this game.
We talked about that, about those, being involved in sports and about those emotions and you up and down, how they prepare you for life, man.
Yeah, definitely got to stay focused. I'm gonna jump in before we get out of here. a little boxing match tonight.
Uh-oh.
You got Canelo. It's on DAZN.
The one that Canelo signed like a 300 something 30 million. Okay.
Everybody
We should
signed
know
like
that was going there, right?
HBO is out of the boxing game now.
Pictures are something though, right?
Yeah,
If you look at these pictures, I'm looking to the right of us. It looks like he wants to really win. You know?
Yeah, Canelo versus
Belt and
Jacob.
everything, huh?
Belt and everything.
Yeah, Jacobs really beat Triple G in that first fight, you know, but they gave it to Triple G because they wanted that Canelo Triple G fight.
Oh, that's the money, man.
That's a shame.
If you watch that Jacobs
Crying
Triple G
shame.
Actually, I do think I remember that fight.
fight, he actually won that. He actually won that.
Yeah.
If you ask me, Jacobs won that fight.
It was
So
close. I mean, he did work. He did well. You got to knock the money man out. You know, I mean,
You gotta beat him up. You do.
And definitely, but tonight, they're fighting at welterweight. Middleweight, 160.
yeah,
I think 160. They're fighting at 160. Canelo versus Jacobs. You know, you got to go to money man, but I think Jacobs has a legitimate shot. I think Jacobs has a legitimate shot versus Canelo. It's interesting how much better of a boxer Canelo is.
yeah. I think Jacobs is gonna be the better boxer. Canelo gets outboxed a lot. He just knocks you out.
Yeah.
You know, Canelo gets outboxed. He got outboxed by Amir Khan.
Yeah.
He gets outboxed a lot, but the thing with Danny Jacobs, he's fighting with a little more chip on his shoulder. A lot of people don't know. His son is a Canelo fan.
Oh, wow.
Danny Jacobs' son.
Oh,
is a
so
Canelo
he's gonna
fan.
win then.
So, you know,
Does that mean he's gonna win?
you know, so he's fighting with that chip, you know, to be the son hero, pretty much, you know, like I be who you like, you know. So you know what I mean, because his son was pushing for Canelo to beat Triple G in that first fight, and we know pretty much Triple G might have knotted that first fight out against Canelo. And him and his son was arguing about it. And his son said, "No, Canelo." He said, "No, you just a Canelo fan." And his son started laughing, you know. So that's how I picked it up. You know, that his son likes Canelo.
It's gonna be an interesting fight. I mean, it's at least guys are fighting each other. We saw Amir Khan get dominated by Bud.
That was
a couple
crazy.
weeks ago.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
He got dominated. I mean,
It might be time for him to retire.
he got really taken, out.
Yeah.
It may be time for him to move on.
Yeah, it may be time because his game, his strength was boxing, and he got outbeat to the punch. Like if your game is the box,
Somebody
and
beat you at your game. Yeah.
If your game is rough and somebody out roughed you, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like if somebody out bang you in that shit game, I want to stay in the pocket and bang, and this person come here and do what you want them to do and do it
Right.
not even a close fight. Like it might be time for Khan to put those gloves up.
You think he's gonna retire?
Nah, he's not.
Usually you gotta get beat half to death.
He's gonna take one of them type beatings. You know?
Is that what he gonna do?
He gonna have to.
Well, I hope somebody's talking.
He would have took it this joint if he didn't tap out when he got hit in the leg.
Talk to him.
He actually got hit in the groin. He got hit in the thigh and said he couldn't continue.
Talk to him.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Just quick before we get out of here, me and Jonathan going to head out to this beer fest.
Oh yeah.
Kentucky Derby, Omaha Beach.
Omaha.
It's money, but go with the money line. Omaha Beach will win the Kentucky Derby. I've got your prediction here. You can get the trifecta and everything else and everything, but I know it's the favorite.
It sounds like you got a guarantee.
I'm guaranteeing it.
So let me bet the house. Let me bet the house then.
Who was he talking to? Who put the phone call on? Somebody gave him a phone call.
So I had to. It sounded like it anyway.
Hey.
Put it on at Omaha Beach.
That lucky number
All I want to
seven.
say is you said you're going to a beer fest.
Oh, yeah.
So Uber is close, as always.
Uber is close.
Yeah.
Personal Uber. I don't know where they at. They've been on me.
Oh, they coming.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, they've been on me all week.
Oh, they gotta have you. Sports talk. Live for the culture.
Definitely going to be this Tuesday. We'll be on the Indie Network. For our podcast Tuesday at 9:00. We move back to May 7th at the start. So we'll be doing that.
Expansion, man. Expansion.
Catch it. Definitely catch it. We'll be putting in work like that. Always doing that. What you guys got planned for this weekend?
Well, I got the beer fest. Me and my homie Nate, he got two shows. He got two shows he performing at Philly tonight, and then we going to Baltimore tomorrow.
Okay.
He performing. So
the 7-year-old already got the whole weekend planned out. So there you go for me. I'm just going. I just follow a person that can drive and has no money. So,
but dictates.
Yeah, but dictates everything. We're not even gonna get into the 14-year-old girl. That's a whole different level.
Oh, definitely. You know, they keep you busy. The kids
All
keep
day
you
long.
busy all day. You can't stop them. You know, definitely. That's what it's all about. All right, Sports Talk Live for the Ranch. We'll be back next week. See how this thing. We'll talk about the NFL draft. Talk about the outcome of this fight, and definitely see what's heading up with the NBA. We should be pretty close to the conference finals by next
It's coming.
Definitely.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, definitely. And we're out. Peace.